Today, we're going to break down a dramatic twist in the world of boxing, a warning that could change the future of the sport. Jermall Charlo, a superstar in his own right, has come forward with a powerful and somewhat surprising warning for Terrence "Bud" Crawford. His message is simple, yet piercing. Crawford will be slow against Canelo. This isn't just a casual observation. This is a veteran fighter's view, someone who has fought at the highest level, letting us in on a hidden reality we may have missed. Jermall is not speaking from a place of malice or rivalry. Instead, he's drawing from painful experience. His own brother, Jermall Charlo, fell victim to Canelo's pressure and power just a few months back. So when Jermall talks about slow and making mistakes against Canelo, this comes from a place of deep knowledge and first-hand observation. In this video, we're going to dissect exactly what Jermall meant by this. Why does a fighter of Crawford's prowess, a man who's been a dominant force in the lower divisions, become slow when matching up against Canelo in a higher weight class? We will look back at the Jermall vs. Canelo fight. We'll break it down round by round, moment by moment, to see where Jermall made mistakes, where his timing fell off, and where Canelo capitalized on those weaknesses. Importantly, we will connect these points directly back to Crawford's style. Is there something about Crawford's movement, his rhythm, or his preferred range that makes him vulnerable to the very mistakes Jermall made? Jermall, having trained alongside his brother, having sparred countless rounds against him, has a unique view into what went wrong and what might happen if Crawford finds himself in the same situation. So today, we're not just gossiping. We're adding context, depth, and expertise to a story that's much more than just a headline. This is a veteran's warning, a piece of advice, a preview of a showdown that could define the legacy of both men. Jermall's warning wasn't just a throwaway comment. It was a carefully worded observation from someone who has been there, from someone who felt the power, the pressure, and the unique style of Canelo firsthand. He described Crawford as slow in the context of a matchup against Canelo. But what does slow really mean here? Jermall isn't referring to pure physical speed, hands or feet. Crawford certainly isn't a slow fighter in a literal sense. Instead, what Jermall meant was that against Canelo's pressure, Crawford's timing, his ability to execute, and his defensive reactions may appear slow. Canelo has a way of cutting the ring, of forcing a fighter into positions where their usual movements become predictable and therefore slow. Jermall is warning that Crawford's greatest attributes, his ability to control range, to counterpunch, to find a rhythm, may become less effective against Canelo's forward pressure and power. Canelo has a unique ability to make great boxers look ordinary by closing space, applying pressure, and forcing them into unfavorable exchanges. So when Jermall says Crawford will be slow, it's not a literal observation of physical ability, but a critique of how his style may match up against Canelo's. Canelo is a master at taking away a fighter's preferred strategies and making their movements more predictable and less explosive. This highlights a key consideration in this potential matchup. Styles make fights. And sometimes, a dominant fighter finds their greatest attributes neutralized by a particular style, which seems to be what Jermall is suggesting here. To appreciate the depth of Jermall's warning, we need to dissect what went awry for his brother Jermall against Canelo. Jermall went into the fight with confidence, having unified titles at 154 pounds. His explosive power, movement, and ability to control range were well documented. However, against Canelo, many of these attributes fell flat. How? Firstly, Jermall made the mistake of trying to match Canelo's aggression directly. Instead of staying on the back foot, employing a jab to keep Canelo at bay, or attempting to move side to side to avoid the pressure, Jermall fell into Canelo's preferred range, close, inside, where Canelo's powerful hooks and uppercuts were most effective. This meant that Jermall was forced into exchanges that were not to his advantage. His movement seemed sluggish and reactive, not proactive, which made him a sitting target. Additionally, Jermall fell into a pattern, jabbing and then staying in the pocket, allowing Canelo to time him and find the openings. His mistakes were not dramatic. There were no wild exchanges, just small, systematic failures, and this made all the difference against an opponent like Canelo. Jermall's warning highlights this phenomenon. If Crawford, a fighter who normally controls a match's rhythm, finds himself forced into a reactive, slow-paced style against Canelo, the result could be the same. This context underscores just how hard it is to match Canelo's pressure and adaptability, something Crawford has yet to face at this level. And it's precisely what Jermall is trying to warn us about. Of course, it's not all bad for Crawford. He is a remarkable fighter, a multi-division world champion with adaptability, power in both hands, and a keen ability to read his opponents. His greatest strength lies in his ability to adjust, to find weaknesses, and to exploit them in real time. But against Canelo, these strengths may be blunted. Canelo is a master strategist. His pressure is not blind. It's purposeful. His movement cuts off the ring and funnels you into positions where you can't use your greatest attributes effectively. This means Crawford's ability to switch or find a different tactic on the fly, something we have seen him do against many opponents, may be less pronounced against Canelo. The pressure, power, and technical prowess Canelo brings could overwhelm Crawford's ability to adapt. Furthermore, Crawford is a small 160-pounder, naturally a 130 to 140-pound fighter. The jump in weight, the physical dimensions, and the power at 160 will be a significant hurdle. This highlights a key weakness for Crawford: physical maturity and power. His ability to absorb punishment, to keep up under pressure, and to match Canelo's physical aggression is a huge question mark. So while Crawford's adaptability and prowess are well documented, the context here is different. Against a pressure fighter at a higher weight, those attributes may be less effective, which is precisely what Jermall is trying to warn us about. So here we are, a showdown that promises fireworks and a dramatic test for one of the greatest boxers of this era. Jermall's warning underscores a key consideration. It's not a question of whether Crawford is a great fighter, that's a given, but whether his style can flourish against a pressure king like Canelo. The context of this matchup, the weight, the power, the pressure, and the stylistic matchup, all points toward a dramatic showdown where we will learn a lot about both men. Jermall is not trying to diminish Crawford's ability. Instead, he's offering a veteran's view, a view that many fans and casual viewers may miss, about how small details, tiny mistakes, and slight disadvantages can be decisive at the highest level. Ultimately, this isn't just about two great boxers. It's about two opposing styles, two different journeys. Crawford, the master technician, the adaptable warrior, against Canelo, the powerful pressure fighter, the kingpin of the division. This is what makes the matchup so rich in story and danger. It's a perfect blend of narrative, rivalry, legacy, and stylistic conflict, a showdown for the ages. Jermall's warning adds depth to this story. It highlights a path to vulnerability in a fighter many consider nearly perfect. It shows us that in the world of elite boxing, it's often the small details, a step slow here, a reaction a fraction off there, that separate the greatest from the rest. As we move forward, and this showdown draws closer, we should appreciate not just the physical prowess of these two men, but the psychological battles, the strategies, and the hidden vulnerabilities that will come into play. Whatever happens, we know we're in for something special. A true showdown that will define the legacy of both Canelo and Crawford.